Let me tell you about something I witnessed yesterday in a cafe. When you grasp what I saw, you'll understand why you've been transparent to women your entire life. There was this man, maybe in his mid-20s, handsome, well-dressed, trying to win over this woman. For almost an hour I watched. He did everything with flawless inaccuracy. But here's the kicker. He was convinced he was doing everything perfectly. That's you. That's 98% of all men. Today, I'm going to reveal exactly why your mind is hardwired for failure with women and how to rewire it. But most of you won't have the guts to actually follow through on what I'm about to say. You know what's ironic? Every man believes he's the exception. Every man thinks his circumstances are unique. But I'm a good guy. But I have a great career. But I dress well. But I'm witty. Look, none of that means anything if you're running on the wrong mental operating system. It's like trying to play a Blu-ray on a record player. It doesn't matter how great the movie is. It's simply not going to work. And that is precisely what you're doing with women. Let me pose a question. How many times have you had a fantastic conversation with a woman, believed everything was clicking, only for her to vanish without a trace? How many times have you played the perfect gentleman, done all the right things, and then watched her fall for some guy who treats her like an afterthought? You see, this pattern repeats and you chalk it up to bad luck. It isn't luck, my friend. It's a formula. It's psychology. It's a game where you're using the wrong rulebook. I remember a moment when I was 20 that changed my entire perspective. I was at a party, observing my friend. We'll call him Leo. Leo wasn't conventionally attractive. Leo had no money. Leo dressed like he lost a fight with a donation bin. Yet Leo had 3 different women vying for his attention, while I stood in the corner in my sharp shirt and perfect etiquette, completely unseen. I just thought, what on earth is going on here? That night, I began to understand a concept that took me years to fully master. Here is the unvarnished truth. Women aren't attracted to your resume. They aren't attracted to your noble intentions. They aren't attracted to how desperately you want their approval. In fact, the more you crave their approval, the less they'll give it. It's the paradox of attraction. The more effort you show, the quicker you fail. I know what you're thinking, but that's illogical. Precisely. That's why 98% of men stumble, because they're trying to apply logic to an emotional arena. There's this program running in your subconscious. I call it the pleaser's playbook. It was installed around the age of 5. Your mother told you to be nice to girls. Your teacher said to respect women. Society preached happy wife, happy life. And all of that is fine for coexisting, but it has absolutely zero to do with attraction. You've been conditioned to be a loyal puppy when women are drawn to a wild stallion, not a dangerous stallion, not an aggressive one, but a stallion nonetheless. Independent, unpredictable, and self-contained. Let me introduce you to a concept I discovered through sheer observation. Every interaction with a woman contains what I call challenge moments. These are forks in the road where you either build or dissolve emotional tension. Most men are so terrified of tension that they rush to diffuse it. If a woman seems uneasy, they crack a joke. If a woman challenges them, they quickly agree. If a woman tests them, they fail instantly by trying to appease her. You're so preoccupied with making her comfortable that you become too comfortable, and comfort is the kryptonite of attraction. Think about it. When was the last time you were thrilled by something entirely predictable? When did a movie with no conflict ever hold your attention? Never. Because human beings, and women in particular, are wired for emotional stimulation. They crave the push and pull, the suspense, the challenge. But you show up like an open book. Chapter 1, I'm interested in you. Chapter 2, I'll do whatever you want. Chapter 3, please choose me. The end. It's boring. Now, I'm not telling you to become a jerk. That's the conclusion fools jump to. Oh, women like bad boys, so I'll be cruel. No, women don't like bad boys. Women like men who possess their own reality, their own framework, their own life that doesn't instantly pivot the second a beautiful woman enters the picture. The bad boy often has these traits by default simply because he doesn't care. But you can embody these qualities while still being a good man. In fact, that's the most powerful combination of all. Here's a real-world example. You match with a woman on a dating app. She's stunning. Your first instinct is to craft a clever message, something to prove you're different, something to impress her. You've already lost. Why? Because your entire approach is contingent on her reaction. You're not expressing, you're performing. You're not connecting, you're auditioning. And she can sense that neediness through the screen like a shark smells a drop of blood in the ocean. What's the alternative? Write what entertains you. Write what you would if she were average looking. Write as if you have 10 other conversations going and this is just one more. Because that vibe, that lack of neediness, that self-amusement is what pierces through the static. That's what makes her pause and think, this guy's different. But here is where 98% of men fail even if they grasp this idea. They try to fake it. They pretend not to care while secretly desperate. They act alpha while feeling beta. Listen, women have been decoding behavior since they were teenagers. They've seen every tactic, heard every line, encountered every strategy. They have an inbuilt sincerity sensor that's more precise than any lie detector. You cannot fake this. You have to become it. I'll tell you about a woman I met about 3 years ago. A gorgeous woman, the type that makes you consider changing your entire day's schedule just on the off chance of seeing her again. We're talking, the vibe is great, and then she says something I fundamentally disagree with. The old me would have just nodded and smiled to keep the peace. Instead, I said, "Listen, you're a very beautiful woman, but this conversation is putting me to sleep. I think I'm going to head home and read a book. It'll be more stimulating." And I left. Guess what happened? She called me that night, then again the next day, then for a week straight. This woman, who had men lining up for her for years, was suddenly pursuing the one man who walked away. Not because of a technique, not because of a game, but because I genuinely valued my own time and interest more than I valued her beauty. That is authentic power. That is an unbreakable frame. But here's the part most men miss. This isn't about being cruel or dismissive. It's about having standards that go deeper than physical appearance. It's about being truly willing to walk away if your criteria aren't met. For most men, the only standard is she hot? That's it. That's like only caring if a car has a nice paint job while ignoring whether the engine even starts. You're setting yourself up for failure. Let me break down what happens inside a woman's mind when she meets a typical man versus a man who gets these dynamics. The typical man. He's nice. He showers him with compliments. He's always available. He agrees with everything. He tries hard to impress her. Her subconscious conclusion. He's lower value than me. He needs my approval more than I need his. He must not have other options. He's safe. He's dull. He's forgettable. The man who gets it. He's friendly, but not overeager. He teases her. He's sometimes available, sometimes not. He disagrees when he has a different opinion. He's more focused on amusing himself than impressing her. Her subconscious conclusion. He's at my level or higher. He clearly has options. He's unpredictable. He's interesting. He's memorable. See the chasm between the two? It's not about being a jerk. It's about being a man with his own life, his own thoughts, his own standards, and a sense of self that doesn't disintegrate when a pretty woman pays him attention. Now, let's tackle something controversial. The friend zone. Every man dreads it, but few understand why it's created. The friend zone is the platonic penalty box where women place men they don't romantically respect. And you land yourself there by acting like a friend when you desire to be a lover. You get there by being agreeable, available, and neutered. You get there by hiding your sexual interest. You're essentially being deceptive from the start and then act surprised when she doesn't see you as a romantic partner. Listen, if you are romantically interested in a woman, she should know it from your vibe, your energy, and your flirtatious behavior, not from a dramatic confession 3 months down the line. Your intent should be clear through your actions from day one, not concealed behind a mask of friendship. I knew a guy, we'll call him Mike. Mike's strategy was to become friends with every woman he was attracted to. He became their emotional tampon, their handyman, their always-on-call buddy, and then after months of this, he'd confess his feelings and get shot down every single time. And he would be crushed. But I was so nice to her. Yes, that's the issue. You were nice.
You weren't attractive. You weren't sexual. You weren't romantic. You were nice like her best girlfriend, her brother, or her pet. The solution is not to stop being nice. The solution is to be attractive first and nice second. Lead with your masculine polarity and use kindness as the seasoning, not the main course. Be sexual without being creepy. Be confident without being arrogant. Be challenging without being impossible. It's a delicate balance, but it is a learnable one. Want a practical exercise? Here you go. The next time you're texting a woman, before you hit send on any message, ask yourself one question. Am I sending this to get a particular response from her? Or am I sending this because it entertains me? If it's the first, delete it. If it's the second, send it. This one filter will radically alter your entire communication style. Here's another exercise. Practice disagreeing. Not about every little thing, not just to be contrarian.
Here's another exercise. Practice disagreeing. Not about every little thing, not just to be contrarian, but when you genuinely have a different opinion, state it. I don't really see it that way. That's one perspective, but I think, I thought that movie was awful. Whatever it is, begin vocalizing your authentic opinions instead of the ones you think she wants to hear. What will shock you is that the more you respectfully disagree, the more her interest will grow. Why? Because it demonstrates you have a spine. It shows you aren't desperate for her validation. It shows you view her as an equal whose opinions can be debated, not a goddess whose every utterance is gospel. I remember an interaction from about a year ago. A woman told me she was really into astrology. The old me would have said, "Oh, that's cool, tell me more." The new me said, astrology is basically just prejudice for birthdays. She gasped, then laughed, and then spent the next hour passionately trying to change my mind. We had a real conversation with actual energy instead of me just nodding along. That's the difference. But here is the ultimate secret, the thing that changes the entire game. You have to genuinely become a man who doesn't need female validation, not pretend to be that man. Become him. How? By building a life that you actually find interesting, by having hobbies that fulfill you, by having goals that excite you, by having friends that challenge you, by having standards that you refuse to compromise on. When your life is full, when you are genuinely busy with things you are passionate about, when you have legitimate options, all of this becomes effortless. You aren't playing hard to get, you are hard to get. You aren't pretending to have standards, you have standards. You aren't faking confidence, you are confident because your life has earned it. Most men are looking for a woman to fill a hole in their lives. Women can sense this void like animals sense an earthquake. They know you're trying to use them as an emotional crutch, a validation dispenser, proof of your worth. That is far too much pressure. It's too much responsibility. And that's why they run. Instead, your life should be so complete that a woman is a wonderful addition, not a requirement. She's the cherry on top of an already delicious sundae, not the entire dessert. She complements your life. She doesn't complete it, because if she completes it, what happens is she leaves. You're incomplete again. You're broken again. You're desperate again. Think about the men who are effortlessly good with women. They aren't always the most handsome or the wealthiest, but they are almost always men who would be perfectly fine without a woman. They have their mission, their passions, their friends, their ambitions. Women are just one facet of their rich life, not the center of their universe. That is magnetic. That is attractive. That is what you must become. Now, let's discuss the moment of truth, the approach. Whether online or in person, most men approach with the energy of a job applicant. Please choose me. Here are my credentials. I hope I'm worthy. Wrong. So wrong. You must approach with the energy of someone who is offering an opportunity.
I'm an interesting person. I'm fun to be around. I might let you into my world if you're cool enough. Do you feel the shift? It's not arrogance, it's self-worth. It's genuinely believing that your time and attention are valuable, because if you don't believe it, why in the world should she? Here is a mindset shift that changed everything for me. Stop thinking about getting women. Start thinking about selecting women. You're not trying to convince every woman to like you. You are trying to find the women who meet your standards. This shift is a total game changer for your energy, your approach, and your entire dynamic. When you're selecting, rejection doesn't sting, it's just data. She's not a good fit. Great, she just disqualified herself and saved you time. Next. When you're trying to get, every rejection feels like a personal failure. When you're selecting, rejection is just a part of the filtering process. I learned this lesson the hard way. I spent years trying to persuade women to like me, performing, impressing, convincing. It was exhausting. Then I switched to selecting. Is she interesting? Is she kind? Does her lifestyle align with mine? Does she bring more to the table than just her looks? Instantly, I was the one with the power. Instantly, I was the prize. Instantly, everything was different. But here is what no one tells you. This path is lonely at first. When you stop being a validation seeker, when you stop people-pleasing, when you stop being agreeable just to be liked, you will lose people. Women who just enjoyed your orbit of attention will vanish. Friends who were comfortable with you being the nice guy will be confused. Your family might even say you've changed or become selfish. Good. Let them go. Let them be confused, because on the other side of that temporary solitude lies authentic connection, real attraction, and genuine relationships with women who are drawn to you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. You know the saddest thing I see? Men in their 40s and 50s still running the same failed programming they learned as teenagers, still trying to nice their way into a woman's heart, still baffled as to why it never works. Don't be that man. Make the change now. It will be uncomfortable, it will be hard, it will be scary, but staying the same is scarier. Dying with regret is scarier. Never knowing what real mutual attraction feels like is the scariest thing of all. The truth is, everything I'm telling you is simple, but it is not easy. It's simple because the ideas are straightforward. It's not easy because it requires you to dismantle decades of social conditioning. It's not easy because it requires you to face rejection head on. It's not easy because it requires becoming a new version of yourself while the world wants you to stay the same. But here is my promise to you. If you commit to this work, if you truly shift your mindset, if you practice what I'm teaching, your entire reality will transform. Not just with women, but in life. Because the confidence that comes from not needing external validation, the power that comes from having your own standards, and the freedom that comes from being your authentic self, these things will elevate every single area of your existence. So here is your assignment, and 98% of you won't do it, which is why 98% will remain exactly where they are. For the next 30 days, practice one thing: radical detachment from the outcome. Approach women with zero attachment to the result, text with zero neediness, date with zero desperation. Just practice being present, being authentic, and being self-amused. That is it. That is the secret that separates the 2% from the masses. It's not about tricks, lines, or techniques. It's about the genuine ability to be yourself, by yourself, for yourself, and allowing women to choose to enter your reality instead of you desperately trying to claw your way into theirs. Listen, I know this has challenged everything you've ever been taught. Good. It's supposed to, because everything you've been taught has led you to where you are right now. And if you're still with me, where you are right now is not where you want to be. So the question is simple.
Are you going to continue down the worn-out path that leads nowhere? Or are you finally going to take the road less traveled? The choice is yours. The same old results or a world of new possibilities, comfort or growth. You already know which one you're going to choose. You already knew before this was even over. The only question left is, when are you going to stop lying to yourself and finally take action? That's all I have. Take it or leave it. Use it or ignore it. But don't ever say that no one told you the truth, because I just did. The rest is up to you.